In this video, we shall be looking at the story of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. Now, this is an Arthurian romance belonging to the Middle Ages, and as I told you, it is anonymous and it is contained in that manuscript which we saw in the earlier video, the Cotton Nero AX. Now, Arthur is a legendary name for the Englishmen, and Geoffrey of Monmouth, somewhere around 1137, in his text Historia Regum Britanniae, he brings in Arthur as a very brave king, someone who belonged to that Anglo-Saxon period, and he was a very brave king who had resisted 6 attacks from the Germanic tribes and things like that. Now, Arthur became a very fascinating character for the English people. So, Edward III of England, he formed a group. It was known as the Order of the Garters, and he formed this military group in the year 1344. This group had 25 members, including the king himself, and the king presided over the meetings. And not only did the king preside over the meetings, he also used to watch all the tournaments that went on, and he would give praise for all those brave things. And he was a kind of pseudo-Arthur, because Arthur, in the legendary practice, already had his Knights of the Round Table, and the Knights of the Round Table and Arthur in Camelot with his queen, Guinevere. So these are known names to students of literature. So now, Arthurian legends became very popular, and this Order of the Garters was fashioned along the lines of Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. Now let's look at this text, Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. Arthur was a man who loved challenges, and the Christmas festivities are going on. New Year is approaching, and he's present at his court along with his Queen Guinevere. They are all waiting to dine. And Arthur has made an announcement that he will not dine till some kind of exciting challenge is made by someone. So only when that happens, he will begin to dine. Now, perhaps this is a regular practice with him. And so he has not yet begun to dine. We find descriptions of Arthur, he's boyish. We find descriptions of the queen. She's the most beautiful woman that one could behold. We find descriptions of the thrones, and we find descriptions of the lords and ladies present at Arthur's court and that dining hall. Just then, there is a flurry of excitement, and a huge, giant-like man, he enters the hall. You know, he's on a horse, and that horse just enters galloping into the hall. This man is all dressed in green. He's all dressed in green, and he is carrying 2 things. He's carrying nothing related to defense, and he's only carrying a holly. A holly is a symbol of Christian peace. So he's carrying that holly in his hand, and And he's carrying a green axe in his hand. The green holly, the green axe. He's himself all dressed in green. His horse is green. The horse is bejeweled. Everything green. The helmet of this man is green. Everything is green. He has a long flowing beard, bushy eyebrows, all green. So now he comes in and he asks for the king. He pretends not to recognize Arthur, even though Arthur is sitting on his throne. He says, "Who's the king here?" So Arthur looks at him and he thinks that this man is probably wanting to fight a duel or something. He must be a swordsman of some kind. So he says, "Okay, what do you want? Do you want a duel? Do you want to fight a duel?" So this man says, the Green Knight says, "No, no, no. I can only see beardless children here. I have not come here to fight. In fact, I have come here to challenge, to present a challenge." And when the king asks what it is, the Green Knight says, "Here is my axe. Give it to the one who's willing to take it, and there is a condition attached to it." Now, that man who takes this green axe can behead me. He can give me a stroke, and if he likes, he can behead me. But at the end of 1 year, he will have to present himself before me at a place called the Green Chapel, and then I will land him a blow, and he will have to take that, no matter what the consequences. So do you have any such brave person here who will take this challenge, who will accept it? Now the other courtiers, they don't know what to do. And then they suggest to Arthur that perhaps Sir Gawain is the one amongst us who can accept this challenge. And since Sir Gawain is such a trusted member here at the court, Arthur offers the axe to him and Sir Gawain accepts the challenge. So he steps forward and the knight tells him, "Repeat the words after me." And he, repeats the challenge that you can strike me, but after a year you'll have to present yourself before me at the Green Chapel. And Sir Gawain does that. It's a name belonging to the Middle Ages, whether you choose to call it Sir Gawain or Sir Gawain or Gawain or whatever. There are many, many, many ways in which this name is pronounced, as are several other names belonging to this period. So now he takes the axe and Arthur tells him, "Swing it, properly. Behead this man." And so Sir Gawain swings the axe and it hits this Green Knight on the neck and the head rolls off. The head rolls off and all these other courtiers are disgusted. They kick the head away. And this Green Knight runs after the head. He picks it up. He holds it by the hair. And then the head speaks. And the head tells Sir Gawain, "You remember your promise. I'm leaving, but you have to remember your promise and you have to present yourself before me at the end of 1 year." Saying this, the Green Knight holds the head, gets on his horse, and he leaves. Now all these people are astounded by all this and they don't know what has happened. They look at Arthur, thunderstruck. They are waiting for an explanation. He himself has not understood anything. He laughs and he says, "Okay, whatever it was, this is just an interlude." He tells his wife, the queen, "This is just an interlude." And they carry on with the dining and things. But everyone has a heavy heart here. Because Sir Gawain was a very popular person, and now it appears as if he's going to lose his life. And so they don't know what to say. They don't even know whether Arthur was right to say that he would not begin dining till someone offered a challenge here. There are all kinds of mixed feelings. And everyone feels that once Sir Gawain leaves this place, we may never get to see him again. So now the dinner will be over, the feasting will be over, and Sir Gawain will go to the chapel to pray. Then he will take leave of the lords, the ladies, and the king himself, and he will set out on his journey. Now, he is carrying things related to defense. He'll wear his armor. He will carry a shield. These are all related to self-defense. And he's going to begin, he's going to begin that journey of his, and it's an adventure of sorts. Now, this is the thing about these Arthurian legends, These knights of the Round Table, they all had their own ancestries. They had their coat of arms. They had all kinds of adventures. And this became a kind of tradition. So now Sir Gawain has set out. He goes on and on and on. And at first, he keeps moving forward. And then he moves through more secluded places. He sees monsters and he sees evil and he sees all kinds of animals and he's got to fight them all and he kills them. And then he moves into a forest kind of place. There are worse things there. And he doesn't know what to do. He makes an earnest prayer to Virgin Mary and he says, please show me a place where I can rest. He makes that prayer 3 times, and on the 3rd occasion, as if, a miracle has happened, he sees a dazzling castle in front of his eyes. And he approaches the castle. There's a guard or someone standing, and he gains entry into the castle, and he sees the host there. Now, this host is none other than the Green Knight, but Sir Gawain is not going to recognize him. So he sees the host there and the host welcomes him. The host is someone like Arthur. That is, he has his own courtiers and he has his own men and all that is happening. And they are all sitting down to dine and they invite Sir Gawain also to join and they all eat and drink and make merry. And then those courtiers try to find out who this new person is. And Sir Gawain introduces himself and everyone is very happy to hear about him. And then the host tells Sir Gawain to spend 3 days or, a few days here if he likes. If he likes, he can remain here. He need not set out on that journey immediately, and he can stay here for some time. And so the ultimate end agreement is that Sir Gawain is going to continue here. Now the host and Sir Gawain become friendly. They become friendly, and this person tells him, the host tells Sir Gawain that you stay here and you can enjoy my hospitality. I'm going to leave for hunting every morning, but you'll find everybody here and you'll be very well looked after. So I'll go for hunting and, we'll make a pact. So there will be an exchange. What I have won, I'll give you. What you have won, you give me at the end of the day. So now this man, Sir Gawain, he sees two women here. One is very, very beautiful. Obviously, she's the host's wife. And there is another woman, and she's dressed in black and yellow. And she's the witch. So she too lives in this palace. So now this, because the temptation is a motif which appears in many of the texts, and so that witch is here. And this Sir Gawain will continue here. So now Sir Gawain is going to continue here in this castle for 3 days, and the host proposes a pact. The host tells Sir Gawain that he would be out hunting for the next 3 days, and Sir Gawain could continue here, and at the end of the day, every evening, let's say, Sir Gawain and the host would meet, and whatever the host had gained during the day, he would hand it over to Sir Gawain, and whatever Sir Gawain had got in the course of the day, he would hand that over to the host. So both of them agree to this, and they embrace, and then Sir Gawain is taken to a beautiful room where he will, rest at night. So the next morning the host leaves, and he is out hunting deer. So now this is going to be 3 days, and the first day it's a deer hunt. You have to remember the nature of the animal. It's a kind of timid animal, the deer. So the host will be out hunting, and Sir Gawain is lost in his thoughts. He has not even been able to sleep peacefully at night for the simple reason that his mind was crowded with ideas of, what will happen when I reach the Green Chapel, and how is it going to be, and things like that. So now he spends a kind of restless night, and the next morning the host's wife, that beautiful lady, she puts in an appearance even before he has woken up. She comes and sits on the bed, and she, tries to seduce him. So this is the beginning of the temptation. And Sir Gawain resists. And finally, what happens is that he receives a kiss from the hostess. So that's where it stops. And this lady understands that he's not one to give in very easily, and that he has his own ethical and moral code, and he won't give that up very easily. So this is about, Christian virtue, temptation, the Christian virtue. And since he's one of the Knights of the Round Table, he's expected to have a kind of moral behavior or a moral code, and he ought to practice that. So this is what happens the first day. Now the host returns from that hunting spree, and then he comes and he calls out for Sir Gawain, and when they meet, he hands over the deer to Sir Gawain, and Sir Gawain gives him the kiss. Now the host is surprised, and he accepts it, and he says, okay, but who gave this to you? And Sir Gawain diplomatically says, well, that was not a part of the pact, so I need not answer this question at all. And the host keeps quiet. The next day, again the host is out hunting, and this time he is out hunting for a boar. So now this is not an animal like the deer. This is more aggressive. He's out hunting for a boar. And now the next morning, after the host leaves, again the hostess appears, and this time she's a little more, she tries to tempt him somehow, and she's more unashamed than she was the previous day. The previous day she had just told him that her husband was out and that it was a good opportunity and things like that. And today she's a little more open about it. And Sir Gawain too begins to take a little interest in her. He begins to take a little interest in her, but he doesn't give up his virtue or anything. So ultimately, he gets 2 kisses from the hostess. So at the end of the day, when the host will return, he'll hand over the boar to Sir Gawain, and Sir Gawain will give him the 2 kisses. Now the third day, the host is out hunting for a fox. Now look at that animal. It's a cunning animal. So he's out hunting for a fox. He's going to hunt a fox. And this man, Sir Gawain, is here. And this time when the lady appears, the hostess appears. Now, it's not as if, an actual seduction happens. But yes, he is a little bolder this time. And when she, makes all kinds of overtures to him, and he refuses. He says, no, nothing doing. So he gets 3 kisses from her, and she offers him a ring. And he says, see, I have nothing to give you, and so I'm not going to accept all this. So he refuses to accept the ring. Then she offers him a sash, a kind of a girdle, a sash. And he wants to refuse that too. But now that foxiness is going to come in. And this lady tells him that, see, this is something that you ought to have. Nobody will be able to harm you in any kind of assault or combat or attack. And so this is something that will save your life. So you ought to be considering taking this. And now he's tempted. He's tempted and he's going to take it. Sir Gawain is actually not able to forget that he has to go for that. He has to go to the Green Chapel and he's got to meet the Green Knight there, and he will have to suffer that axe blow. And he knows that he might not survive. And so if a gift is being offered which has some magical powers and which might just, save his life, now he gives in to the temptation. He takes the sash, and at the end of the day, when the host returns from the hunt and he hands over the fox to Sir Gawain, and he asks Sir Gawain what he has to give in exchange. Now what happens is that Sir Gawain gives the 3 kisses to him. But he doesn't make any mention of the sash that he has received. He neither mentions it nor does he give it. Now he has to set out for the Green Chapel. And the host had promised him that I'll send a guide along with you because I know where the Green Chapel is and it's not very far from here, and I'll make sure that a guide accompanies you. And so Sir Gawain will leave for the Green Chapel in the company of the guide. Now they'll begin their journey. And all through the journey, the guide gets to know a lot about Sir Gawain, and he keeps telling him, don't go there, you drop your quest, let it be, don't go there. This is very similar to what those courtiers at Arthur's court felt. They didn't want him to lose his life. And now this man, this guide, whoever he is, there are various views about it, that it is the same host who has, changed appearances and come, even though at the castle gate, the host was there, the guide was there, both seemed to be present, but no explanations are given. Neither can it be said with any certainty as to who the guide really is. These are only assumptions. But that guide keeps pleading with Sir Gawain, give up your quest, give up your quest. You are such a worthy lord and you should not, go there, and you shouldn't accept this challenge. Let's go back. But Sir Gawain says, no, that cannot be done. So he goes along. They reach the Green Chapel. Once they reach the Green Chapel, they look around here and there, and this Green Knight doesn't seem to be anywhere around, and suddenly he appears. Suddenly he appears, and he's happy that Sir Gawain has actually, come here. He has behaved as an honorable man ought to behave. And so Sir Gawain presents himself, and he tells the Green Knight that do what you have to do and do it fast. So now Sir Gawain kneels and he lowers his head for that axe blow. And the Green Knight raises his axe and he's about to deal that blow onto Sir Gawain's neck. And Sir Gawain flinches and the Green Knight stops. He doesn't deal that blow. Sir Gawain asks him, why didn't you deal that blow? And the Green Knight says, because you flinched. You are a coward. You flinched. So I won't do that. I won't deal a blow. So now he feels ashamed. Sir Gawain feels ashamed of his conduct. He says, no. I'll prepare myself properly, and this time you deal that blow and make it fast. So again he lowers his head. Again the Green Knight raises the axe and he brings the axe close to Sir Gawain's neck, but he does not deal the blow. This time Sir Gawain looks up at him and he asks him, now what happened? I didn't flinch. So the Green Knight says, yes, you didn't flinch. And so I didn't deal that blow. The first time he hadn't dealt the blow because Sir Gawain had flinched. The second time he didn't deal the blow because, this time it is because he didn't flinch. The first time he had flinched. The first time Sir Gawain had absolutely flinched. And so the Green Knight had stopped. This time he does not flinch. And so the Green Knight stops and he says that I didn't deal the blow. This is the reward that you're getting. So Sir Gawain says, okay, but now the third time, this is the final time, and you have to deal that blow. Because you have to set me free of this. That pact which was made at Arthur's court. You have to set me free. So now the Green Knight says, okay. So once again Arthur lowers his head. Once again the Green Knight raises his axe. He brings it close to Sir Gawain's neck, and then he just deals a blow. That blow is just about enough to make a small cut and to draw some blood. And Sir Gawain sees blood, spilt on the snow ground before him, and he leaps up and he brings his shield up in front of him and he says, enough, you've had your try. Now you cannot stop me from defending myself, and I will not let you deal another blow to me. That one blow is over. And the Green Knight laughs. He says, I did it on purpose. I had never meant to kill you. And do you know why you got even this cut? And even this kind of bleeding had to happen? Because of that foul play that you did with me. I was that host. And you had concealed that sash matter to me. And so this is your punishment for that. And the Green Knight feels very, very ashamed of himself. He realizes that he has, transgressed. It's a case of transgression that he took that sash and then hid it. He wasn't upfront about it and things like that. And so he leaves for Arthur's court again. And this time when he leaves, again he's going to face all those dangers. All those dangers that he had faced before, all those wild creatures and monsters and whatever else. He faces all that, fights them all, and then he finally reaches Arthur's court. Now, a confession has to follow because a transgression has happened. He has violated a moral code, so a confession has to happen. He tells his story to the lords at the court, and they get to know of his transgression, and they also hear his confession. He goes to the chapel and confesses, and he confesses before these people, and as a mark of honor for Sir Gawain, he has that sash, and Sir Gawain says, I'm going to wear this sash all my life to remind myself of my shame. And all the courtiers say, we will all get ourselves a sash like this, and we will all wear it to show you that you are not the only one who has transgressed. It is the entire human condition. There are temptations in life and there are transgressions, but we all need to redeem ourselves. You have redeemed yourself, and we are all prepared to redeem ourselves in our own eyes, and so we will wear a green sash like this, like the one you're wearing. And so this text from the Middle Ages comes to an end.